69:29 says, I am poor and sorrowful. Let your salvation, O God, set me up on high. Only God, man, can really put us anywhere. We basically by ourselves are poor and sorrowful. If you want to know who Jesus is, just ask him. If you want to know who God is, just ask him. It's that simple. Let's get into this. So, a gentleman was telling me that he thought Thor Ragnarok CG was better than Justice League. You know, a lot of people, when they see Justice League, those people who are abreast of the mustache gate, they point out that Superman's CGI was horrible. But really, it wasn't horrible, first of all. Yeah, it was certain points, you know, when Superman was talking about the S on his chest, for instance, in this opening scene here, look a little bit uncanny valley. And I think when he was talking to Lois Lane, and I think at the end when he was talking to the Flash, it looked a little bit uncanny-ish. But if you've seen the 4K, it's significantly better. But for the most part, the CG in Justice League I didn't find was bad at all. In fact, when you talk about Thor Ragnarok, comparing it to Justice League, well, you know what? Let's just look at it. I'll show you some things. Because I think a lot of people have the wrong perspective about this. Let's get into it. So if you look at Thor Ragnarok right here, this image, people say that this CG is much better and superior to Justice League CG. Like this and like this, right? But CGI is not just certain things that people consider. For instance, people think that CGI is sharpness. So, for instance, if you look at this image here, if you look at this, everything here looks sharp, clear, correct? People talk about good CG based on resolution. Now, the resolution here is great. And the resolution here is not as great as that resolution. That's open to opinion, but... So, for instance, when we look at the resolution here, I zoom this in, for instance. Let me zoom it in. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's say about here. Everything looks sharp and clear, right? But good CG is not just based on resolution, like a video game. In film, good CG has to do with good CG. You can't tell the CG's there. That's the best way to say it. You're not paying attention to the CG. You're paying attention to the story in the movie. So, for instance, when we look here, we can tell you what is CG in this, right? You can literally point out what is CG, correct? So, for instance, you know, without a shadow of a doubt, that the background here is all CG. You know that this is CG. You know these things lying down because you can look at them and see they're CG, right? You know that this guy here is real, this is real, this is real, right? You know that. Exactly what here is CG. You may know that Cyborg here is CG, but what else is CG? Can you tell me what it is? What else is CG in this picture? When you can't tell what is CG from what is real, that's good CG. So, just based on this point of this picture here and this picture here, the picture which has the better CG, you have to hand it to this picture here. Because here's the thing. If I was to tell you that these guys are standing in front of a lot of green screen. A lot of green screen. They're standing in front of a lot of green screen. Can you tell me where the green screen begins and where it ends? On what is CG and what is not? Try. Point out what is CG in this picture and what is not. Okay, you can say Cyborg. Okay, fine. Cyborg CG. What else? Do you know that all of these people are in a studio and that they're actually standing in front of CG? But where does the CG begin and where does it end? Well, okay, here. Where does the CG begin and where does it end? You can tell me, right? I'm pretty sure you can.